didn't see you there. Would you guys like to set sail on this ocean of flavor with me? I'll be your captain. I'm Steve Harrington.
And I'm Collin.
And I'm Whitney, and this is Scoops Ahoy, a Stranger Things podcast where we go week by week, chapter by chapter, taking a look at every single episode of Stranger Things. We have now made it through all 4 seasons, and we are in the deep dark void as we wait for season 5. Although we did get a little nugget. We got a nugget for season 5.
A good size nugget, yeah.
Oh, it was not. I would not qualify that as a good size nugget.
Well, I mean, if
but
we're going to get, I didn't think we were going to get anything. So,
well, I knew we were just because they said we were, but I assumed it would, like on To Doom, I assumed it would be like another episode title, or which I would have taken that over Linda Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean, we would have found out eventually, but
also I thought they weren't introducing any new characters, but I feel like they always say that.
Well, I think they can't have like no new characters, but I'm assuming that it's going to be kind of more of a minor role. I don't think she's going to be like I don't think she'll be in every episode or anything. No. Yeah. I think, more like Robert Englund. Yeah. Like a glorified cameo.
Someone was like, is she the new executioner, Connie Fraser?
Oh,
I was like, well, she could be.
I saw one tweet today and it was a picture of Linda Hamilton and Millie Bobby Brown next to each other. And I'm like, I'm not saying, I'm just saying they kind of look alike. I'm like, what? Like she's going to be her mother? Like,
we already know her mother.
I know. I'm like, what are you trying to? I don't know.
But it cracked me up during the live, like To Doom I was watching, and then the comments, and so many people were like, "Who is that? Why do we care? Who is this?" And I was like,
"And why is Arnold Schwarzenegger introducing her for real?"
Yeah.
That's funny.
As soon as he came out, I was like, "Oh," because the news came out before. I swear Stranger Things tweeted out the information before they announced it on
Yeah, it didn't come out like the day or two before. Yeah.
Oh, I meant like 30 minutes before, but
oh no, it had been rumored. So
yeah.
But
yeah.
So
anyway, so we have that to look forward to. But this week we are doing an influence episode on Stranger Things from the movies, the trilogy. The Indiana Jones trilogy, which is Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. So Collin is going to hit us with some facts, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, so we're not going to do summaries because that would take way too long. But Raiders of the Lost Ark came out June 12th, 1981, directed by Spielberg, screenplay by Lawrence Kasdan, fresh off Empire Strikes Back. George Lucas actually came up with a character of Indiana Jones for his buddy Steven, and he and Philip Kaufman wrote the story, had a $20 million budget, $8 million opening weekend, went on to gross almost $400 million, I think, 390, something like that. Was the number 1 movie for all of 1981. Came in with 212 million just for 1981 alone, which was almost double of the number 2 movie, which was On Golden Pond, which came. I know 1981 was not a good year for movies, and I'll remind me, and we'll talk about it when we get to the Siskel and Ebert stuff later, because they had a little funny bit about it. The cast was obviously Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, Karen Allen as Marion, Paul Freeman as Belloc, Ronald Lacey as Tote, the evil Nazi guy with the burned hand, John Rhys Davies as Sala, and Denham Elliott as Brody. Those 2 guys actually come back later. Was nominated for 9 Oscars, believe it or not, and won 5. It won for art direction, editing, sound editing, and visual effects. It was nominated for Best Picture, which I had completely forgotten about. Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Score. And we all know John Williams' glorious score. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom came out 3 years later, May 23rd, 1984, directed again by Spielberg, screenplay by Willard Huck and Gloria Katz, story by Lucas again, $28 million budget, $46 million open, $330 million total. Was the number 2 movie for all of 84 behind Ghostbusters. And the cast was, again, Harrison Ford, but he was the only holdover from Raiders. It was Kate Capshaw as Willie, and then Ke Huy Quan as Short Round. Only 2 Oscar nominations. It won for visual effects and lost for original score. Poor John Williams. And then Last Crusade came out 5 years after that, Memorial Day weekend, 1989, directed by Spielberg, screenplay by Jeffrey Boom, story again by Lucas and also by Minomaeus. $48 million budget, $37 million opening, $474 million total, was the number 2 movie for all of 1989 behind Batman, which was juggernaut that year.
Oh yeah, the one with Jack
Michael
Nicholson.
Keaton. Yeah, the first Michael Keaton. Vicky
The
Vale.
best Batman.
Yeah. Harrison Ford again, Sean Connery as his dad, Allison Doody as Elsa, and then John Rhys Davies and Denholm Elliott coming back as Sala and Brody, and then Julian Glover played Donovan. 3 Oscar nominations, 1 for sound effects editing and lost for original score and sound. So those are your 3 movies.
Well, you know who John Rhys Davies, like who I feel like the kids would know him today. He's Gimli
Oh, right.
in Lord of the
Right.
Rings.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. I feel like you would know, and then you would know Short Round. We know him from the Goonies,
Right.
but they would probably know him from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. And all his Oscar
Yes, this year was a
winning
big year
thing.
for him.
Big year for him. It was so cool. They had, I saw a clip of Harrison at the opening. I think it was in Hollywood somewhere at Grumman's or something. And he kind of snuck up behind him and
Yes.
gave him a big hug. Yeah.
Yes, I
That's really
saw
cool.
that. I always get Karen Allen mixed
Mhm.
up with the main lady, the main woman in Superman,
Oh,
Margot Kidder.
Margot Kidder. Yeah.
I always get them mixed
Oh, I
up.
can see that. Yeah.
But
I get Cary Green and Jamie Gertz confused. Cary Green was Goonies.
and Jamie Gertz
Andy
was
and,
Lost Boys.
and Jamie Gertz was Lost Boys and Less Than Zero and
Yes.
Twister and stuff like that. I always get the 2 of them
Oh, I
confused.
forgot she was in Twister. She has
Yeah.
a terrible haircut in that movie.
She really does. Okay, Rotten Tomatoes wise, Raiders of the Lost Ark has a 93% critic rating and 96% audience rating, and Siskel and Ebert both loved it. And if you don't believe me, just listen.
Raiders of the Lost Ark hurdles us through a cascade of non-stop adventures. It has everything. Forgotten tombs, giant tarantulas, evil, bloodthirsty Nazis, thousands of poisonous snakes, and the best chase scene I've ever seen in a movie. I really love this one.
Well, so did I, and I can't recommend a film more than this one. I sat there really admiring it. I just said, look at how tight this is. Look at how excellent it is. It attempts so much and hits so close all the time. I really applaud all the people who had to produce this thing and make it. It's marvelous.
Temple of Doom, 76%. So 15, 16, 17% drop from Raiders. For
It's
critics.
the weakest. Well, we're not
Yeah.
going to talk like out of all of them. Crystal Skull is the weakest, but
True. Yeah, we don't even acknowledge that one, so that's okay.
I don't know if we're going to be able to acknowledge the new one coming out. I'm just
No,
like,
I don't either. I don't know.
Harrison, you're so old. He's 80.
I know he is.
I'm very scared for him this year. Like
I
somebody
know.
had 2023 bingo, and it was like one of the blocks was Harrison Ford
Oh, no.
dies, and I was
No.
like, oh no,
Oh no.
he is my birthday twin. No,
Oh no. 82% audience rating for Temple of Doom, and Siskel and Ebert both gave it thumbs up. And then Last Crusade, 84% critic rating, so 93 to 76 to 84, and then 94% audience rating. And I'm really, it's a toss up for me between Raiders and Last Crusade. I really love
Raiders
them
is
both,
my
so.
favorite, but
yeah.
it's close with Last
Yeah.
Crusade. And Last Crusade also has that little opening with River Phoenix in the
Right,
beginning,
which is really good. Yeah.
It's
that
so
whole thing.
cute. And then I don't know if you were beyond this, but when River Phoenix passed away, it just it was a big
It
deal.
was a huge deal. Yeah.
I feel like he was one, well, I can't say he was one of the first super young ones, but I don't know why that one impacted me so much. I don't know if it
I
was-
think we were just the right age for it to kind of hit us. So because I kind of grew up with him with
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, obviously, and what's the other one? Not My Own Private. Was it My Own Private Idaho? Was that him?
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but he did a bunch of movies right in a row there, and including
He was so
Last Crusade.
talented
He
too.
was so good. Yeah,
And then it was an OD at the Viper Room, wasn't
at the
it?
Viper Room with Johnny Depp. Yeah,
Yep, he was
Yep.
with Johnny Depp when it happened.
that's right.
Right. Yeah.
So Siskel and Ebert were torn actually on Last Crusade. Ebert loved it. Siskel did not.
What's good about the film, very good, is its slam-bang ending that takes time to question what's more important, objects or a family. What is so about the movie is its machine-like march through Nazi lairs and caves in the hunt for the Holy Grail. None of it is bad, it's just of a piece. Thunderous to the point of pushing one away from the screen. And I didn't believe the father-son relationship between Connery and Ford. I just saw two good actors occupying the same space next to each other.
Whatever. That's what I want, though.
Yeah.
That's what I want in Indiana. I want an adventure. I want Nazis, and I want a sassy love interest.
Yeah. You get
what
it
I
all.
want.
So
Yeah.
So there's your trilogy. So we can start talking about Stranger Things. Obviously, the Duffers loved all of the Indiana Jones movies. They've talked about it repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into it obviously when we get to our top five. But here's Matt and Ross talking about just overall, how great the three movies were, and how much of an inspiration they were to them.
Like sometimes I'm more in the mood to watch Last Crusade. The banter between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, and it's very similar to Raiders, of course, but it's just got a little bit of a different tone.
But if you just want to learn how to make a film, just watch Raiders. Every scene is a masterclass. It really is.
And then Brett Gelman, who plays Murray, he did an interview, I think it was before season 4 dropped. I can't remember who he was talking to, some news outlet. And he said at the time that a lot of season 4 feels very like Indiana Jones to me, he said.
Mm-hmm.
The way that it's constantly balancing the tension of the adventure with the humor. So
yeah I could see that.
Yeah. So let's get into our top 5 ways that the Indiana Jones movies influence Stranger Things.
So I'll take number 5, and it is when Max steals the car, or not steals it, but she's in charge
takes Billy's car. Yes.
Yeah, she takes Billy's car. And then it's similar to the scene in Temple of Doom where Short Round is going and he picks up Indy at the nightclub. And you see when he picks him up, he has like a brick strapped to his foot because he's too little to be driving.
Yeah,
and he
like
has
a little
brick.
block of wood. Yeah.
And Colin and I debated this, but I'm pretty sure something is tied to Max's foot when she's driving because she can't reach the pedals
it's
either.
the same thing, and I'll play a clip from the Duffers in a second, but it looked like it's less than half a second when you see it, but there's it looks like it's kind of like a cardboard box with some duct tape or anything, but I know here's the Duffers talking about that.
We're big Indiana Jones fans. We're big fans of Temple of Doom, and specifically we referenced it. I think it was in season 2, episode 9, the final episode of season 2, when we have Max driving Billy's car, and she's got a block on the pedal, just like Short Round has to use a block in order to drive the car in Temple of Doom when they make their escape.
I remember our production designer being like, Sadie doesn't need a block, she can reach that. And then we were so devastated because we wanted to give that little nod, but then we put Sadie in the car and she could not reach the pedal. I'm sure now she could, but luckily in season 2 she couldn't, so we got our block in there.
So that's great. That's a really good tie-in. The next one that we came up with was, and this was one that the Duffers touched on themselves too, was at the beginning of season 3, where you have before everything actually even gets going, you have the Russians with their whole, big, huge, mechanism to tear open the gate, and then it just blows up and sucks everybody. And that's a direct reference, obviously, to the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So here's the Duffers talking about that.
The opening scene of season 3 includes something horrible happening to some scientists that we were inspired by the ending of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they open the Ark and it just causes these horrific things to happen, and that just seared itself into her brain. So we wanted to give a little nod to that.
And that scene is also, I feel like they parallel each other in the sense that I was not expecting that at all. When I saw the first scene in season 3, I was not expecting that, their demise that way.
Right.
Just like I wasn't, when I was little, I remember being absolutely shocked when the guy's face melts off. And it's so terrible, but it is so similar. You can tell Steven Spielberg had a hand in Poltergeist because it looks almost the exact same as when the guy in Poltergeist pulls his skin off or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly thinking oh, that reminds me of Raiders when I saw the first episode of season 3.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. So, yeah.
Next, which this one I felt was very, very obvious with when Robin and Steve are captured by the Russians. similar to when Indy and his dad are captured by the Nazis and they're tied back to back in that chair.
Yeah.
And it's right. And they're arguing and they're kind of like bantering back and forth. And it's a funny scene that ties in well with the tension that you're worried that they're not going to get out. And I feel like,
Indy and his dad are arguing about both having sex with Elsa.
Yes.
So that'll better.
Yeah.
And then, which is a lot. And then obviously Steve and Robin are high as a kite and they're just talking about whatever. And then they tip over and everything.
They tip over. But I feel like they both did a very good job of balancing that the tension and humor at the same time.
Yeah. And that's what the Duffer said too. I mean, it's just the, the whole idea of having the banter going just to keep things light.
Yeah. They just said that. I don't know why I'm repeating it.
No, it's fine. The next one is almost just as obvious, if it's not more obvious. And that's the whole Nancy and Jonathan, will they, won't they dance that they do with Indy and Willie in Temple.
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, really?
It's the same. No.
Yeah.
No.
I think, I mean, it's not as concise a scene that you can go boom, boom, they don't like look identical, but there's obviously a lot of, the kind of back and forth going on and stuff, which is really cute. And then before we get to number one, which is, we always say it's obvious, and it probably is obvious to everybody, but a couple other little bonus things. Obviously in Family Video in, I think it's season 4, episode 2, you can see up near the front window, there's a Raiders of the Lost Ark little cardboard display that's for selling popcorn. So they tie it in that way. And then there's a lot of stuff because I hadn't seen Temple of Doom in probably a good 10 years or so.
Temple of Doom was my favorite when I was little.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, well, I know it's solely because of the scene where Willie has to stick her hand in that with all the bugs.
Oh, right. To get them out of the roof thing. Yeah.
Like like snakes don't bother me. I mean, like I don't like them and I wouldn't want to meet one. Like I don't want to see one in the wild, but like spiders give me the legit like creeps. Like I don't like to see them. Yeah. They're gross. And that whole scene where I would have just been like, sorry, everybody's gotta die.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry. This is it.
I'm out.
It appears we've come to a crossroads because I'm not doing this.
But I mean, it was funny because I was watching Temple of Doom and and I'm obviously looking, intently for Stranger Things. And obviously the head priest's name is Callie, Kali, just like Callie. Number 8, and then they had the plane crash scene toward the beginning where they're trying to kill Indy and Willie, and so the pilot jumps out, so they have to fly the plane like Joyce and Murray did. And then there was one shot, and it can't have been intentional, but it was just kind of funny to see when Indy gets to the castle. You're kind of looking up at the castle, and a whole swarm of bats kind of fly out of the roof of the castle. It looks very much like the Creel House kind of castle-y look with the bats flying overhead.
Yeah.
And then obviously the chain gang, all the kids on the chain gang at the end of Temple of Doom.
While Temple is not, a fan, like everybody's favorite, it's probably everyone's least favorite out of the original 3. Most people's, I would say.
Yeah. It's
probably the easiest to borrow from because it was so outlandish, and kind of wild with like you've got all the wild animals and it has a supernatural, which they all do, but it's more the first and 3 are more like supernatural, like religious,
right? Versus
the third one, the second one, which is more just
it's kind of more dark too, and Raiders and Last Crusade.
People will argue and say that that's why there was a PG-13 movie rating invented was Temple, but it's not. It's
eating monkey brains and sucking hearts out of people.
Yes, the monkey brains.
Monkey brains.
I probably couldn't watch that now.
But Raiders and Last Crusade are very traditional,
like adventure.
I mean, they're almost like Western. They're kind of like action movie. Kind of thing. So yeah.
And we have reached our number 1 influence, which is so obvious. I feel like everybody's guessed it. But it's Hopper as Indiana Jones. And I really, really wanted, when they were talking, okay, you can settle, before I get into this, you can settle a little debate for me. Because I said if they ever remade Indiana Jones, I wanted David Harbour to play him. I think he'd be perfect. And I got an astounding amount of people being like, no, he's too old. What?
No.
That's what everybody said, though. I was like, no, he's not.
He's not any older than probably Harrison was in Last Crusade, I wouldn't think.
He would be perfect.
Yeah, he'd be great.
Yeah.
And he's got the same kind of wry humor and
he's got that swagger about him and whatever.
And he looks good in a hat.
He does.
Yeah.
So obviously, my biggest one, I think, for the comparison between Harrison or Indiana Jones and Hopper is when he gets his hat back in season 2, when he rolls back and gets the hat. But you also have the torches, the tunnels, and the snakes, like in the vines, like snaking around him. And, you know, Indy's like, snakes. Why does it got to be snakes?
Right.
Punching people in season 3. And we have a clip from the Duffers actually talking about that. So we're going to play that.
Obviously, Indiana Jones himself, you know, is a big reference for Hopper. We talk to David about Harrison Ford probably more than anything else, and trying to just sort of capture that energy. That's one reason we have Hopper punching people all the time, because Indiana Jones punches people all the time. David was upset because in season 2, he didn't get to punch anybody. And so in season 3, there's a ton of Hopper punching people. David is really good at capturing the Harrison Ford essence. Not many modern actors are able to do it, aside from Harrison Ford, of course.
So with him punching people in season 3, and I feel like he really beefed up for season 3. It was, he went from, I mean, he had like a legit like dad bod.
He was pudgy. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, where did that come from? Do you think that was for the role, or was it for something else? Like, what are you doing, Dave?
Well, I think, you know, according to the Duffers anyway, he probably went to them and said, I want to beat people up. So, and wanted to get in shape to beat people up. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, you had that. And then you've got the fight with, I always forget this. Is it Grigor? It's Grigori, right?
Grigori. Yeah.
It's not Gregory.
Right.
Gregory.
Gregory.
Like from Harry Potter.
Yeah. So the whole funhouse thing where he's beating up all the goons and all that kind of stuff. So I'll post a link. There's an article by the, I think it's a stunt coordinator, I'm pretty sure, who said that he was inspired by Indiana Jones to choreograph the whole funhouse.
I don't know how you could do anything in the 80s and not take from these movies. Like, you know what I mean? If any movie is set, I don't know how you, as a director, producer, storyteller.
Yeah.
I feel like,
and even not intentionally. I mean, a lot of it's probably
right. That's what I'm saying. It's
brain,
just like,
you know,
singed into your brain forever. You just do it. So there was an IGN article, which I always forget what IGN stands for.
I don't know. Why do you ask these questions?
I don't know, but I do, and I can't help it. I've been like this since you've known me.
I can look it up. And I'll look up what IGN.
Okay. I'll read the quote from the article. There was an article with interviewing David Harbour, and he said, Hopper has the Indiana Jones quality to a lot of what he does, but he is at his lowest point in Russia. It is sort of the dark night of the soul where he needs to go through this really dark passage to get out to the other side. So yeah, it's some of the most brutal things he's ever been through, physically and also mentally. Which
Imagine Games Network.
Oh, that's what IGN stands for? That's weird.
Yep.
Would not have guessed that in a million years. Ever.
But that's what it is. So we'll post a link to the article. So,
but I think it's odd that he said that, because while I don't know, I feel like he's the least Indiana Jones like in the fourth one. Like, there are certain scenes that are reminiscent of Indiana Jones movies, but I feel like the character himself is much more like Indy in seasons 2 and 3.
No, I agree. I think, you know, and maybe he was, you know, kind of talking more in general, and it's kind of still sticking with him. So yeah.
But that does it for our top.
That does it. And we learned what IGN stands for. So
and we learned what IGN stands for, in case anybody else like me was wondering. But Imagine Games Network. I would have gone international something. Whatever.
We'll just keep going right down this rabbit hole here. So it was formerly Imagine Games Network, an American video game and entertainment media website operated by IGN Entertainment. They're headquartered in San Francisco. So I don't know.
I hate it.
Maybe it was like a, you know, kind of playing off, you know, Imagine Entertainment or something like that, or just, you know, imagination in general. So it was like kind of imagination fueled games.
If anybody from that publication is listening, I don't like it.
Let us know. We don't like it, and let us know.
Okay, but what we do like are emails.
Yes.
And I'll take the first one. It is from Audrey, and she says, "Hi, Whitney and Collin. I was so excited when you read my email." You're welcome.
Yeah.
Here's my opinion about the first and only Indiana Jones movie I watched. Okay, I tried to watch the first movie, but I thought it was so boring. I don't know why, but I just couldn't get into it. Whitney, I am terrified of sharks too. Thank you. Colin, I can't believe you don't rewatch movies. He does.
I
Just
do.
not a lot.
Not a lot.
I have watched Moana like 500 times. How can you think Raiders is boring?
Well,
I don't
depending
know
on the-
how old is she.
Yeah, depending on the age too, when she watched it too, obviously. So
I swear, 80s kids had a different mindset about what was entertaining. I don't know
well,
why.
we had such little choices for entertainment. I mean, there was no.
We just got excited when there was a movie for us.
You had like 1 or 2 movies a week, and that was it. Unless you're watching
Yeah.
after school specials or something. So, but yeah, no, I
Yeah.
do rewatch movies. I watch, I mentioned War Games and Back to the Future and stuff like that when it's on and that kind of stuff. But the movie critic in me is kind of still there, so I always try to like watch newer movies and that kind of stuff. So just so I can, keep going and watch it. But I do watch plenty of old movies. What I don't
And
really watch a lot of is television. I don't watch a lot of series per se. Like
I watch it all.
Bridgerton or that kind of, or Outer Banks, that kind of, I don't really watch a lot of series like on Netflix or something, but I do watch some every once in a while. So,
But I do feel like your fear of sharks is warranted.
yes.
It is. And especially lately, I feel like there's shark attacks left and right.
Mhm.
I'm actually appearing as a guest on Horror Movie Club this week, which you can find at Horror Movie Club Podcast. And we're talking about Jaws.
Jaws.
Because
A
my
shark.
fear of sharks
Yeah.
somehow blossomed into my love for a shark horror movie.
For Jaws, yeah. The
Yes.
thing I'm most afraid
Yeah.
about is my favorite movie. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
second favorite movie. Yeah.
Right. So
Okay,
All
next
right, thanks,
email
Audrey.
is from, this is from Quinn. Hey, Whitney and Collin, it's Quinn. I finished school on the 31st and realize now how incredibly boring my life is. I have nothing to do, so I'm planning to listen to episodes of your podcast that I haven't heard yet. I don't remember much about Indiana Jones besides snakes, but I remember the ones I've watched from the 80s were amazing. I'm scared for the new one coming out because I think Harrison Ford is way too old.
oh, he is.
Yeah, it might be good, but I'm still not sure. That gives me the same vibes as Home Alone's 3, 4, and 5, and 6, which I didn't even realize there were 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Not sure I knew there was a 3. But anyway, the last 2 came out a long time after the first 2, and they don't have Macaulay Culkin, so they're just not the same at all. To me, this just seems like a remake. I know it's not, but it's too long after the originals from the 80s. Yeah, and that's what Siskel was saying in his review of Last Crusade. It just felt like a remake. It was just kind of the same Raiders of the Lost Ark over and over again.
Well, do we think this new one, it's being hailed as Indiana Jones? And I wonder if they're going to try to do what I thought Kingdom of the Crystal Skull
yeah,
was going to be a passing of the torch.
yeah, to like Shia LaBeouf
But then
yeah.
Shia LaBeouf ended up like going off the rails for a little while.
Right.
And so that's why they didn't. So maybe this one will kind of be.
Could be.
Because are we just forgetting?
I've only
Are
seen
we
the
just-
trailer once, so I don't really remember,
Are we
Yeah.
just ignoring that Shia's character existed? Like that was Indy's son.
Yeah, could be. So, or maybe they kind of write him off, or I don't know. Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
have
don't
to
know.
see it just for. I'm gonna go see it.
I will go see it. Yeah, absolutely. So, Quinn says, I'm scared they're going to remake Harry Potter, which is my childhood. Hollywood is running out of ideas and has nothing else to do. That's what my parents say. Well, the one that really bugs me is Disney doing all the live action versions of the animation stuff, because I have not seen Little Mermaid yet, full disclosure, but I did not like the Beauty and the Beast remake. I hated the Aladdin remake.
Lion King.
Lion King wasn't terrible and the Jungle Book wasn't terrible, but
They remade the Jungle Book.
yeah, well, they did the live action one that Jon Favreau directed with like all the motion capture stuff. It was like what, 5-6 years ago, something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
get into like Disney movies at all.
Yeah.
So
Quinn says, anyway, I'm done complaining. I want to make sure I want to rewatch Indiana Jones soon. Also, is Freaks and Geeks good?
yes,
Yes, but it sucks because it's only one season and you're going
and it ends on a cliffhanger.
yeah, and you're going to be bummed out. But it is very good. Yes,
It is very, very good, but you're going to be very dissatisfied when it ends.
right. Yes. My parents want me to watch it. He says, oh, lastly, I meant to say Nilla wafers because remember, I can't remember what he said, but you kind of tripped on
yeah.
what he said. Yeah. Autocorrect. I have a love-hate relationship with it, mostly hate. And lastly, again, I tried watching Stranger Things backward and it hurt my brain because people were dead and then they weren't. I had to stop. Remember we were talking, he started it.
Yeah, because I still don't understand
Right.
why. I can't remember who's doing it, but I need to know why.
Yep.
Okay, our next email is from Harriet. She says, hey, Collin and Whitney, sorry my email last week didn't make much sense. I was packing for my school camp. To be fully honest, I haven't watched any of the Indiana Jones movies recently, but I do have a really distinct memory from when I was like 9 of the ball rolling down the tunnel scene and for some reason the floor caving in, although that might be from a myriad of different movies. No, you're right. That is.
Well, there was at the end of Last Crusade, one of the challenges is to spell Jehovah, and he hits the wrong one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But when the balls are on down, he has to get it through because the floor is crumbling behind him.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Colin makes me second guess myself. Okay. She says, I remember liking it though and thinking that it was an engineering feat of the future. I love a good booby trap, man. I do.
Yeah,
Sort of like, that's why I love
booby trap.
The game Mousetrap when I was little, even though it never worked like it was supposed to, but I wanted it to.
Yep.
She says, I'm writing this email on the bus back from rowing camp. See what I mean about being overcommitted to things. It's been okay. We were out west of my city and it has been freezing cold, getting up at 6 a.m. on the bus. Oh my gosh, yes. By 6:15 and rowing on the dam at 7 a.m. during which it is 2 degrees Celsius, about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. I froze to death. What?
I would too. Good Lord. That's there's got to be some kind of child safety issue somewhere.
Right? I don't know. I feel like kids outside of America are tougher.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of kangaroos around our campsite though, and rainbow lorikeets. I've also been reading The Goldfinch. It's really good so far. Hope you guys are well. Lots of love, Harriet. I haven't read The Goldfinch.
I have. It's a good book. It's not a good movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Isn't Finn in the movie?
No, it's the other kid and Nicole Kidman. Which
movie was he in recently that they were like?
I don't think it's Finn in it. I don't think he's in it. Is he?
He was in a movie that was.
Oh, he is in it. He is in it. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right. Yep.
But he doesn't have a big part in it.
No, I don't think. Am I insane? What am I looking at? No, he's not in it. Oh, yes, he is. It is. It's a small part, but yeah, he's not the main thing because Ansel Elgort plays the older version of.
Oh, that's right.
And then Oaks Fegley is the younger version of the kid.
Oh,
and he was in Wonderstruck and The Fabelmans and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, not a great movie. I don't remember why I didn't like it, but I just remember not liking it. So, but you can be your own judge. But the book is very good. Okay, next one's from Eve. Hey, Collin and Whitney, hope you're both okay. Just want to start by saying I love seeing how you record the podcast, and it's great to finally put a face to your names. Also, my exams are officially over. I'm now a college kid, which is crazy to think about. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Anyway, on to Indiana Jones. I loved these films when I was a kid and still do. I think Raiders has to be the best. You can never beat the original. When I was 9, my parents took me to Disneyland in Orlando, and I clearly remember the live Indiana Jones show. I remember it too, actually. It was really good.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing. The films have lost a little bit of oomph over the years with so many sequels getting released, but they still remain mostly entertaining, except for the new one coming out. I'm sorry, but Harrison Ford is an old man now. There's no way the film will be able to achieve the same number of stunts as the originals. In my opinion, the franchise had a great run, but they have to let it rest now. There's no reason to have it drag on any longer. My brother is insisting on watching it, though. I might be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, that's all I got for this week. As for usual, thanks for the podcast and stay strange, guys.
Also, it's Disney World. Disneyland's in California. Disney World is in Florida.
That's right.
Just, that's not me, like, being a jerk. It's just
what it is.
Get it confused all the time. And I'm like, nope, it's Disney World.
That's true.
And I thought that, well, I guess it is owned by, it isn't Disney. It's not an MGM.
Well, MGM was Disney. It was.
Oh, that's right. I mean,
before it became whatever it is now. Yeah, it was MGM.
Now it's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, it was MGM Studios. Yeah.
But they had the whole like giant boulder running down after him. I remember being disappointed because Harrison Ford wasn't there when I was little. I was like, this is bullshit. Like
that would have been cool though if you just hung out there all day and said hi to everybody.
Like doing 3 shows a day for Disney World. Why not? What else did he have to do?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have an email from Skipper Melody. She says, hey, Collin and Whitney, after watching all 3 Indiana Jones films for the first time in 9 years, I can clearly say that these films are amazing. In reference to Stranger Things, I was heavily reminded of Hopper. And then she lists out some bullet points. Indy's silhouette with the hat is very similar to David Harbour in season 1 and season 2 with his hat. Yes, he loves his hat. The tunnel scene at the end of an episode when David has just jumped in and the cameras turn upside down is very Indiana Jones, even though there isn't a scene like that in the films. Yes, but it's the same cinematography type style. Indy's aversion to stakes and David being strangled by snake vines in the tunnels in season 2. Indy's flirting habits and Temple of Doom reminding me of Hopper's. Yes, very much. Like I feel like Hopper was a mesh of Indiana Jones and Chief Brody. I feel like those two characters made him.
I can see that. Yep.
Indy protects all of the children in the Temple of Doom, and Hopper wants to protect the kids, and especially 11. Yes, those are all excellent points. Anyways, wanted to let you know that even though I am also apprehensive about Dial of Destiny, I will be seeing it with an Adventureland fan group at Disney Springs on opening night. Oh, that'll be fun.
That's cool.
My roommate and I will be dressing up and going to Jock Lindsay's hangar bar after Jock Lindsay being the pilot for Indy and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, is that like a bar there?
He's the pilot that when Indy got away from the boulder and was running, he's like, Jock, start the plane.
Yeah. But that's an actual bar.
But yeah, it's like a
restaurant bar.
In it's in the
Disney Springs.
Yes, like that thing.
Yeah. We are so excited. I will try to send photos. Please. Yes, I want to see them.
Yeah.
Yes. Indiana Jones is actually part of a large secret society within Disney lore, much like how the Stranger Things crew is in one of the large secret is in on the large secret of the Upside Down. What do you mean he's actually part of a large secret society within Disney lore?
I think it's just there's a whole a separate fandom for Indiana Jones kind of, and a whole bunch of nerded out fans and stuff that like him, and there's a whole thing.
I don't think that's what that means.
That's how I took it. I don't know.
I think that
Skipper can
when you email us again, tell us, because I don't know what large secret society within Disney lore has not. She would just say a fandom if it was
that's true. That's true.
And it's not like how the Stranger Things crew is in on the large secret of the Upside Down. Oh, maybe because he knows about all the religious artifacts.
Could be.
Maybe.
Well, let Skipper tell us. Tell us.
Back to the Christmas music discussion. My favorite version of Carol of the Bells is by Barlow Girl, and then we have a link to that actually.
I'll post a link to it. I don't want to play it because YouTube might not like us if we play it, but I'll post a link so you can listen to it.
And has a Sing We Now of Christmas bridge. I listened to it and read the lyrics to see if it's creepy like you were talking about, but I find it strangely beautiful. I'm just going by the music.
It's the sound is creepy. It's more kind of.
I feel like they always use it in haunting Christmas scene.
Yeah.
So
it's like Tubular Bells, that kind of thing.
Yeah. In this version, the singer seems to be remarking on the sounds of the season bring. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk today. The singer seems to be remarking on the sounds the season brings, and it becomes a monumental assembly of all these sounds wrapping around her as a comfort blanket of what the season of Christmas brings. It brings peace within the chaos, much like how Joyce's Christmas lights bring her peace amongst all of her chaos. I also love the song Christmas. What? I also love the song Christmas Shoes, and we actually owned the movie that they made off of the song, and I watched it when I was 12. Well, why would you do that? That is terrible feelings.
It's a Rob Lowe movie. I looked it up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was like one of those Lifetime kind of.
Yeah, I'll never watch it. I hate the song. I love the song and the movie, but I do understand what you mean when you say it's way too depressing. My mom's favorite Christmas song is the one about the grocery store. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you guys? These are like, could you pick
in the grocery store.
Right? It's
it was snowing Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Mama Skipper, what are you guys doing? Do you guys hate Christmas? Anyways, this has nothing to do with anything, but I really wanted to add to the conversation about Christmas music. See on the flip side, Skipperability. Well, I'm glad you did add, because now I'm concerned for you and your family for liking those songs.
Next one's from Harry. Hey, Whitney and Collin, hope you're staying cool in the summer and all the smoke. Yeah. Did you get you didn't get any smoke down there?
We got some, but it was just kind of hazy.
Yeah. New York City got pelted.
Oh my gosh, my friend in Jersey, it legit looked like an apocalypse, an apocalypse movie, or it reminded me of the movie The Mist.
Right. Yeah.
It was orange and eerie.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I wouldn't have gone out. I would have
No, I wouldn't either. He says, I rewatched all 3 Indiana Jones movies in 3 consecutive nights, and I have thoughts. I saw all 3 of these movies in the theater when they were released, and it's hard to explain to young folks like my son how startling Raiders of the Lost Ark was. It had a bunch of moments that completely subverted our expectations, and I remember how hard people laughed when we first saw it. The iconic moment of Indy casually shooting the expert swordsman as he brandished his scimitar was everywhere at the time. I remember that's such a great scene.
But you know why he did that, right? Do you know the story behind this?
No.
Harrison Ford had to go to the bathroom. He had eaten something bad at lunch and he was sick.
Oh, that's funny. So he was
And
originally supposed to beat him up or something?
He was originally, and he pulls out the gun and like underneath the plane or whatever. They're like the plane, that part. Yeah. He was sick. He had eaten something at lunch or earlier that day and it made him sick to his stomach.
Funny.
He had to go to the bathroom. That's why he did that.
That's great. He says there was also the scene where Indy discovers Marion tied up in the bad guy's tent only to leave her there so he can continue his mission. That's just not something a movie hero did. It was also odd that we thought we were watching a movie about a guy running all over the world to save a sacred relic, but it turned out to be a movie about a skeptic who finds his faith. Without Indiana's involvement, Marion would have been killed and a bunch of Nazis would have survived, but the Ark would have been safe. I also love the German mechanic who was enthusiastic bare-knuckle boxing. Watched the second film, and that felt like drinking poison. As for the third film, it's really well done and a lot of fun, but it's just a solid adventure film with charismatic stars and some wit thrown into the action. It's Ford and Connery who really make it work. I agree. They're really good together.
Mm-hmm.
Taken as a trilogy, they all look fantastic thanks to Spielberg's incredible skill. So many movies nowadays have attention-grabbing scenes filmed in a single shot, but Spielberg uses the technique with style and subtlety. Much respect. Indy himself is kind of sketchy. I just lost my place. Kind of sketchy, flying to developing countries, snatching their treasures and selling them to his university museum. He works best when he's punching Nazis. True. Finally, I had the impression that the second and third films here helped kick off the trend in the late 80s films with intricate Rube Goldberg-style action sequences, but these weren't as clockwork as I remembered them. Maybe it was just inferior copies of Spielberg's style. More to say, but this is already too long. Thanks very much, and keep up the good work from Harry in Seattle.
No,
So that does it for the Indiana Jones emails. We had a couple extra kind of leftover ones too to throw in. But you could say what you're going to say.
Oh, no, I feel like he's correct in saying that it like kicked off a lot of like Rube Goldberg style traps and stuff.
Yeah, like at the end of like Last Crusade when he has to do the 3 challenges and
Oh, I love that.
It was great. Yeah.
I love anything with like a trial. Like you have to do like a test, like in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
You have to do like the test, the book.
Yeah. Also Spielberg. So yeah.
Yeah, they have to do it in the movie, but it's not as good.
Right.
The tasks aren't as good, but they couldn't because of licensing rights. Like one of the tasks is he has to reenact all of War Games.
Right.
They couldn't do that in a movie.
Right.
Unless that person gave them permission, but whatever.
Anyways, a very long movie.
Yes.
Okay, so email from Ellie. Hey, Collin and Whitney. Unfortunately, I had exams all last week and couldn't find time to watch Indiana Jones movies. However, I thought I'd write in anyway so you wouldn't forget me. We never forget you, Ellie.
No.
So first off, I do contemporary dance and I have a performance on July 2nd, which means a lot of practice every week, 2.5 to 3 hours nonstop every Friday till then. And then after that, I have the dress rehearsal on the 1st, but that shouldn't be so bad. And no, going back to the whole name day thing, not everybody is named after a saint here, although the vast majority of us are, and a lot of us have nicknames like me, Ellie, by which we are addressed. Those who aren't named after a saint either, like you said, just don't have a name day. Hey, at least they get to save money on sweets. Or they have a name day on a day called All Saints Day. I'm not sure when that is, or I'd tell you. In other news, I've officially finished 8th grade. However, whereas there, 9th grade is the first year of high school, here it's the last year of junior high. We have pre-kindergarten, which is more of a daycare, I guess, then kindergarten, which is obligatory, then 6 years of elementary, 1 of junior high, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and then you start high school. You have 1st grade of high school, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and then you go to university. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Anyway, here it is. Hope you found it interesting and that I didn't confuse the hell out of you.
I feel like a long time ago, it used to be junior high went to 9th grade here.
Mine was primary was 1 through 3, elementary was 4, 5, 6, junior high was 7, 8, and then high school was 9, 12. That's how I was.
Mine was kindergarten through 5th grade was elementary.
Okay.
Then middle school, junior high was 6th, 7th, 8th. High school was 9 through 12.
That's how we are here. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's more now at Evie's school. They have a separate camp. Oh, like they have a separate section. Like they have a 6th grade campus. It's just 6th graders.
Okay.
It's like an so their junior high is only 7th and 8th.
Okay.
They do primary is preschool through 3rd, intermediate 4th, 5th, and then 6th grade campus is 6th, which kind of like eases them into
that makes sense. Yeah.
And then 7th and 8th junior high, rest is high school. But.
Okay.
All right, our next email is from Tori. She says, hello, everyone. Or always reminds me of Christmas vacation. Hello, everybody. It's Tori, and I'm back from camp. When I got right back home, I ran to my phone, checked my messages, responded to messages, and then turned on the podcast. I started laughing my head off when you read my part about crocheting my potato. I sent a photo.
So yes, here's a photo. Here's a photo of
the crocheted potato.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool, right?
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to learn. I kind of want to crochet a potato.
Crochet a potato. Sure, why not?
So she says, so you guys could see how beautiful and hard I worked on him. You did. We love it. Anyways, I don't really have anything to say about Indiana Jones because I keep falling asleep during the movies. It's not my fault that my parents decided to have a movie night at 9:30 p.m. I guess this email is just for a check-in for the podcast. Hope you guys have a lovely day. Munson out. We appreciate it. We like a little check-in every now and then.
Absolutely. And great work on the potato. So
yes.
Last one is from Stefan. Hey, Whitney. Hey, Collin. Choosing favorite episodes is a hard job to do. He's a little behind from the last one.
Oh, yeah.
And I failed miserably while trying, so I'll give you a quite boring and obvious top one. My favorite episode, not only of season 1, but of all the seasons, will always be the first one, The Vanishing of Will Byers. Just because it all started with that episode, because of all the good and nostalgic feelings rewatching that episode brings back. And a personal note, it was the last show I watched with my mom, who died of cancer in 2019. She also liked the kids and all the mystery stuff right from the start. It was cool to see back then. It was cool back then to see how she got hooked by only the first few scenes of episode 1. Sorry to hear that, Stefan, but I'm glad you guys could share that. Thanks again for the great podcast, and until next time. So, speaking of next time, we will be back on July 6th with another character deep dive, and everybody's like, oh, I hope
who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
You're never going to guess this one. We're going to do
Karen Wheeler.
Yeah, let's do Mama Wheeler and have a little bit of fun. Yeah.
I feel like she's a little bit out there. Like it's not one you would normally think of, but honestly, it is because in the Discord server today, Sophia said something. It might be Sophie. I'm sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, and I could check, but I don't have Discord up. She was talking about how she hoped that she felt like her chances of getting a deeper look into Karen or Karen getting a deeper storyline kind of have dwindled.
Yeah, evaporated.
Yeah, like, and it did seem like they were building her up to do something bigger. So, in a small way to rectify that, we're gonna
maybe she will be back. Maybe she will be bigger.
Maybe, but I love the actress, and
and don't worry, we will get to all the characters at one point or another. I'm sure in the next 3 years before season 5.
Oh my gosh, someone said summer 2025.
I know, right?
I can't do it.
I know.
3 years with the pandemic.
I know.
Seems understandable.
Yeah.
3 years with not a pandemic, inexcusable.
This writer's strike has got to end at some point here. It just can't keep dragging on. So anyway, get us your thoughts on Karen Wheeler. Let's have some fun with this one and really, kind of goof it up a little bit. So get your emails to us by July 2nd. So that is the Sunday before 4th of July for all you American people. Everyone else, it's just a random Sunday.
A regular Sunday.
Yeah. And we will see you on July 6th for Karen Wheeler episode.
As always, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Scoops Pod. You can also email us to get us your emails at scoopshoypod@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed this podcast, we would love it if you left us a review or shared it with your friends, particularly on iTunes, because that is the most influential one, and it will help us get in front of other listeners like yourself. So we want to thank everybody for listening and
watching.
And watching, because we're now on YouTube.
That's right.
We're now on YouTube. So, and watching. But anyways, hope you guys tune in next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Stranger Things audio clips and official score are the property of Netflix. Incidental music by Blue Mount Score from Pixabay.